long time ago, there was a very interesting and unique horror puzzle platformer. This game was called Little Nightmares. It focused on a little girl named Six escaping from a terrifying and eerie underwater boat known as the Maw. Several years down the line, the much anticipated sequel is now with us, and it is actually a lot more disturbing than the original game. It has a lot of scenes which genuinely made me quite uncomfortable, new terrifying monsters to run from, and a whole new character to play as in that of Mono. A lot of the things about 2 are basically what I consider make a good sequel, which are basically improving on aspects of the original. However, there are moments in Little Nightmares 2 that do still fumble and struggle from the same problems as the first game. But that doesn't ever stop Little Nightmares 2 being a good game. I'll admit the ending was a bit of a shock, but overall I still really enjoyed this game. So, without further ado, I'm Kashmir Nikita, welcome to my channel, and let's talk about Little Nightmares 2, or as I call it, Run to the Hills. So the first thing you got to understand, you're not alone this time. Co-op puzzling is very much a big part of the game. You have Six tagging along, and she helps you solve certain puzzles. There are certain aspects of the game and times when you are alone, and this obviously works quite well for building up atmosphere, but even with Six by your side, it doesn't ever stop the game being just as creepy and just intense. There are many sections in the game where I actually felt more concerned having Six around than when I was by myself. Take one moment for example. 1 minute you're in a creepy attic, and the next, you're running from a big guy with a shotgun. Even though you got your friend with you, you're still completely helpless and alone, keeping that same horror aspect of the original game. Running always, never really being able to fight back. Except, Little Nightmares 2 does have fighting back mechanics, but we'll get to that in time. The main thing I want to establish with Little Nightmares 2 is very much focuses on being a direct sequel, rather than being its own thing. However, there are a lot of theories about whether Little Nightmares 2 truly is a sequel, and I'll be getting into that in a different video. The main thing I want to get across about Little Nightmares 2 is it very much plays with its own themes, its own tale, if you will. It also has a very open-ended story which can be interpreted in its own way. Like the original, a lot of the background and the world design actually tells the story, with not a lot of dialogue to really explain. Which is something I actually prefer about this series. It very much lets you interpret. Take, for example, a creepy classroom. Now, you don't need to be told that the classroom's creepy. You just look at it. It's creepy. The teacher, the clacking of the chalk against the board, the eerie silence as she walks around. But you can't help but feel like there's something off about her. And this is where Little Nightmares 2 truly shines. The monsters in this game are terrifying, but you have moments where you can fight back. Take this for example. You can find a hammer and smash one of the dolls to bits, protecting yourself. But this only works on the smaller enemies, and there are more creative ways of taking out the enemies. There's a booby trap here that I use to take out an enemy, instead of hitting it with the hammer. However, this does run the risk of if you get hit, it can take you out, which is not really the ideal solution. The horror design in the game is absolutely terrifying. The teacher's long, stretchy, snake-like neck as she searches eerie corridors for you is a lot more tense than any of the moments in the first game. I think back to the first game, hiding under tables, running from the chefs, and I think that was a lot less terrifying than some of the stuff that happens in this game, and that's kind of a good thing in a way. The music and atmosphere are also very well done, with the game constantly keeping a consistent and terrifying tone. However, there were moments which, due to the trial and error nature of the game, got a little frustrating. Falling off of bookcases, and the platforming was never as precise. This used to be quite irritating in the first game, and sadly does persist into the second game. But the checkpoint system is sufficiently generous that you never really have to worry about it too much. And the game isn't too difficult when it comes to actually surviving encounters. The teacher's long stretchy neck, for example, she can look around everywhere, but she doesn't seem to notice me over here, even though she probably should. This makes for a tense and close survival encounter. Anyway, if I had to sum it all up, I guess I'd give the game a nice 8 out of 10. It's a solid horror platformer. I've been Kashmir Nikita, thank you so much for watching. Be sure to like, comment and subscribe, and I'll see you on the next episode.